Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're jumping right back in with our third deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
And, last time we were looking at all that stuff about intonation and pronunciation, all that good stuff that helps you sound more American, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
Not all Americans speak the same, right?
Okay.
We're talking about accents. So today, we're going to deep dive into American accents.
Exactly.
And how to choose the right accent for you.
Yeah, that's right. And, we want to help you sound more natural when you're speaking English and confident too, right?
Absolutely.
And choosing an accent is a big part of that,
Yeah, for sure.
Deciding how you want to sound.
So let's get into it.
Okay.
When we were looking at the sources, we found a lot of different accents we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we start with this one called General American?
Okay.
What is that?
Yeah. So General American is what some people would say is like a standard American accent. It's kind of like what you hear, when you're watching the news or if you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
And even a lot of materials for, learning English or podcast American English learning,
Yeah.
A lot of those are in General American, so it's a really clear accent that's easy to understand.
Okay.
And it doesn't really have like strong regional influences.
So if you're starting to learn American English,
Yeah.
General American would be like the place to start.
Exactly. It's like a really great foundation. And once you get comfortable with that, then you can start to explore some of the other accents.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of other accents,
Huh?
why don't we take a little road trip down south
Okay, let's go.
and talk about the Southern accent?
All right.
I love how that accent sounds.
Yeah.
I just thought it sounds so warm and friendly and musical.
Yeah, it's really charming.
Yeah.
The Southern accent is really known for those vowels that are drawn out and just kind of like a slower pace of speaking. So imagine if you're saying like, nice to meet you in a Southern accent, it might sound more like, nice to meet ya.
Nice to meet you. Love it.
Yeah.
So great. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to learn more about accents.
Yes.
Is there anything else that's kind of unique about the Southern accent?
Yeah. Southern American English has some of its own grammar. So, you might hear someone from the South say something like, I might could do that.
Right.
I might could do that. Yeah.
Interesting. Might could.
Yeah. And that's something called a double modal. And it's really unique to that region.
Might could. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch gears and head up north
Okay.
to the Big Apple, New York City.
The New York accent.
What's up with that accent?
Yeah. So the New York accent is famous for dropping R sounds.
Okay.
And it's really fast too.
Uh-huh.
So think about a word like coffee.
Yeah.
If you're in New York, you might hear it more like coffee.
Coffee? Interesting. Coffee instead of coffee.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. So I think when we were looking at the sources, they said that the Boston accent is kind of similar to that
It is.
in a way.
Right. Yeah, they both drop those R sounds.
Okay.
But Boston has its own kind of special sound.
Okay.
And it's that ache sound.
Ah,
Yeah, so like imagine you're saying, park the car in Harvard Yard.
okay.
In Boston, it's more like, park the car in Harvard Yard.
Pak the ka in Havadyad. It's so distinct. It's amazing. I love these accents.
Yeah.
Be sure to like this deep dive
Yes.
and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our other deep dives into these American accents.
Exactly.
But for now, let's go all the way to the opposite side of the country,
Okay.
to the West Coast,
All right, California.
California. What's going on with that accent?
Yeah, so the California accent, or sometimes people call it West Coast English.
Okay.
It's known for being really like smooth and laid back. And a lot of times people will have kind of like an upward inflection at the end of their sentences, almost like they're asking a question,
Yeah.
even if it's not a question.
I've heard that sometimes that can sound a little unsure, though.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think sometimes it can come across that way, but sometimes it's just, that relaxed vibe,
Right.
that easygoing California vibe.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Wow, we've talked about a lot of different accents,
we have.
and we're just getting started.
I know, right?
Stick with us because we're going to keep talking about American accents
We are.
after a quick break.
Yeah.
Be sure to leave us a comment and tell us which accent you like the best.
Yes. Welcome back to the deep dive. So before the break, we were taking a look at some of the most popular accents in the U.S.
Yeah, and there are so many.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've just started to think about podcast American English learning.
Yeah.
We talk about choosing an accent, but what about sounding natural and confident, no matter what accent you choose?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of people when they're learning English, they really struggle with that.
Yeah.
But the good news is that our sources have some really great advice.
Oh, perfect.
To help you sound more like a native speaker.
Tell me everything, I'm ready.
Okay, so here's a pro tip for you.
Okay.
It's all about the flow.
Okay.
When native speakers are talking, they don't just say each word separately,
Right.
They kind of connect the words together, almost like it's a song.
Oh, so like instead of saying, what do you want?
Yeah.
It's more like, what I want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it seems like a small change, but it makes a really big difference in how natural you sound.
So connecting words is important.
It is.
Okay, now I was looking at our sources, and it says something about a glottal stop. What is that?
Yeah, so a glottal stop is basically when you close your vocal cords for just a second, and it makes this little break in the sound. And a lot of times it replaces the T sound in a word. So like, for example, button might sound more like bon.
Oh, so like mountain could be mountain.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. It really makes a difference.
It does.
Our listeners can practice that at home right now.
Yes.
While they're listening to our deep dive.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about connecting words and glottal stops.
Yeah.
What else can we do to sound more like a native speaker?
So another really important thing is to think about your pitch and your rhythm. No one wants to listen to somebody that talks in like a monotone.
Yeah.
That was boring, right?
Yeah.
But native speakers, what they do naturally is they change their pitch, so their voice goes higher or lower, and they change their rhythm too.
Okay.
So sometimes they speed up, sometimes they slow down.
Makes sense.
And all of that makes their speech more interesting to listen to.
Yeah, it's like the difference between reading a textbook and listening to someone tell a really exciting story.
Exactly.
So in the sources, we had a couple of practice sentences.
Okay.
How about, I don't know what to do about it?
Oh, yeah.
How would you say that with natural pitch and rhythm?
Okay, so instead of just saying every word separately, you can kind of blend it all together and change the pitch so it would sound more like, I don't know what to do about it.
I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
That sounds so much better.
Yes.
Okay, give me another one.
Okay, how about, did you eat already? Now try like this. Did you eat already?
Did you eat already? Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
Okay, so I'm starting to feel a lot more confident, but what about when you're speaking English and you freeze up?
Yeah.
Because you're worried about making mistakes.
You're not alone.
Okay.
It happens to everyone,
Yeah.
even native speakers.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes they freeze up too.
I feel better now.
Yeah. So one of the best things you can do is just try to slow down and use pauses. And I know that might seem a little counterintuitive because you might think, well, if I speak faster, I'll sound more fluent.
Right.
But actually, if you speak too fast, it can make you sound less confident.
Okay.
And it can be harder to understand you.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So native speakers use pauses all the time to gather their thoughts or to emphasize a word.
Okay.
Or just to give the listener a chance to process what they're saying.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think in our sources, they had a good example.
Yeah.
It was like, I was thinking,
Yeah.
maybe we should go later.
Yeah.
That little pause before maybe
Yeah.
really makes you think about it.
Yeah, it adds a lot of emphasis.
Yeah.
It makes you sound more confident and thoughtful.
Absolutely. Okay, so besides slowing down and using pauses, what else can we do to sound more confident when we're speaking English?
Okay, so another tip is to use contractions and reductions.
Okay.
Because they're really common in spoken English. And they can make you sound more relaxed and fluent. So like, for example, instead of saying going to, you can say gonna.
Right, gonna.
Yeah, or instead of saying want to, you can say wanta.
Wanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all about sounding more natural and less like a robot.
Exactly.
And speaking of sounding natural, I think we have one more tip from the sources.
We do.
Which is all about the power of imitation.
Yeah.
I love this one.
This is a really great tip.
Yeah.
One of the best ways to improve your pronunciation and just your overall fluency is to listen to how native speakers talk.
Yeah.
So watch movies and TV shows, listen to podcasts, and really pay attention to, how they're using their rhythm, how they're using their intonation, and how they connect those words together.
Yeah, and don't just listen to it.
Yes.
Try to repeat it,
Exactly.
Practice those sounds. Practice how they're speaking.
Yeah, and try to imitate what you hear.
Yeah.
And it might feel a little bit awkward at first, but the more you practice,
the more natural it'll become.
Wow. We've talked about so much today.
We have.
It's really like we're taking this crash course in podcast American English learning.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here You know,
Yeah.
what's next in our journey to really mastering this American accent?
Well, our journey to learning about American accents, it isn't over yet.
Oh, no.
There's still so much more we could learn about podcast American English learning.
Right.
And actually, next time we're going to be taking a deep dive into rhythm slang. And you know how native speakers talk so fast sometimes?
Fast conversations.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to start training now.
Yeah.
But seriously,
Yeah.
rhythm and slang, I mean, that's like
It is.
such an important part of sounding natural
Yeah.
when you're speaking English.
Yeah. And really understanding it too,
Definitely.
Like when you're listening to everyday conversations.
I can't wait to deep dive into that stuff.
Me too.
So rhythm, it's
Yeah,
like
dude.
the heartbeat
It is.
of how people talk.
Yeah, like if you can master the rhythm of American English, you're going to sound so much more fluent
Uh-huh.
and confident.
Okay. And slang.
Slang.
It's like a secret code
It is.
that only the cool kids know.
Yeah. But it can be tricky
Yeah.
for people that are learning English because, it's always changing.
Yeah. What's cool today
Yeah.
might be totally lame tomorrow.
Exactly. Slang is really connected to pop culture,
Yeah.
what's happening, in the world, and even online trends.
So it's a lot to keep up with.
It is.
But, luckily we have our deep dives to help us out.
That's right. We'll help you.
Learn all about it.
Yeah, we'll guide you through all those changes in American slang.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
can't wait to learn some new cool slang words.
Yeah.
We'll try to use in my next conversation.
Duh.
But okay, how can our listeners actually practice
Yeah. Yeah.
using slang and developing a good sense of rhythm?
So remember that tip that we talked about earlier
Yeah.
about imitation?
Yeah.
That applies here too. So, watch movies, watch TV shows, listen to podcasts like this one,
Right.
and really pay attention to how native speakers are using slang and how they're using rhythm in their everyday conversations.
And don't just passively listen.
Yeah.
Try to repeat it.
Exactly.
Practice it.
Yeah. And, it might feel a little awkward at first,
Yeah.
but the more you practice, the more natural it will become.
You got it. And it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody does.
Yes, even native speakers.
It's all about just continuing to practice
Exactly.
and not being afraid to try.
That's right. And, learning a language.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's not a destination.
Love that.
There's always something new to learn and to explore.
Absolutely. And to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for another deep dive.
We really appreciate you being here.
I hope that you've learned a lot about American accents
Yeah.
and how to sound more natural
And confident.
when you're speaking English.
Yes. Yeah.
So don't forget to subscribe to the channel
Yes.
so you don't miss our next episode,
Exactly.
which is going to be all about rhythm, slang, and fast conversations.
That's right. We're going to give you even more tips and tricks
Yeah.
to help you master podcast American English learning.
So until next time, keep practicing.
Yeah. Happy learning, everybody. Bye.